This is a sheep farm that I built last week on the Ripple Effects server, and I'm going to show you how you can make it for yourself in your very own world. It's actually a lot simpler than it may look at first. All that it is one module repeated 16 times for all the colours of wall. So this means as long as you know how to build one module, you can do the same for whichever walls you want to farm. If you just want to know how to build this for every type of wall, go to the time shown on the screen. So to make one of these modules, all you need is 9 grass, 24 glass, 1 dispenser, 1 observer, 1 redstone, 1 hopper minecart, 1 rail, 2 hoppers, 1 chest, 1 shulker box, some building blocks, about 9 shears but it can be less, and of course, a sheep. The first thing to do is to place a shulker box. We'll get to why that's somewhat helpful later on. Then a hopper going into the back with a chest on top and a hopper going into the back of the chest. Place a rail on the hopper with a minecart hopper on top. Don't break the rail, that's very important that you don't. Make sure you leave the rail just as it is. And then you want to place a 3x3 grass area above. And then come around the back here and break this block and place an observer there with a block on there. And then a dispenser on top of the observer. Grab yourself your redstone piece, put it there. And then just get some glass and chuck it around the outside here, enclosing the sheep that currently does not exist, but that is where your sheep will go, and all you'd have to do is fill in the dispenser with shears. So the way this farm works is that when the sheep eats the grass below, the observer notices the block update, sending a redstone signal to the dispenser filled with shears, which uses the new 1.14 mechanics of shears automatically shearing sheep, and the wall is then picked up by the minecart hopper below into the chest and into the shulker box. Now that you know how the farm works and how to build one of the modules, you can simply repeat this 15 more times, or as I said earlier, for however many types of wall you would like. Here's a list of items you will need to make this farm for 16 types of wall. Some items aren't necessarily needed, but just improve the look and function of your farm, such as the colored glass blocks. As the sheep will be bold most of the time, they can help indicate which module is which. And the shulker boxes are so that when the box is full, it can be easily exchanged for a new one, plus they can add a little bit of extra colour if you choose to dye them. So here's how to build the farm. If you know how to make one of these modules like I showed a minute ago, you may not even need to watch this part, but just in case you need some extra guidance, here you go. Before you start building, just make sure you have a 5x34x7 high area to make your farm in. The first thing you'll need to do is put all of your shulker boxes in place. So to do that, simply find the middle, which should be an even block here, and then place 8 on either side. Just like so, and then the next step is to come behind the shulker boxes and place the hoppers going into the back of every single one of them. Just make sure you're holding shift when you do this, otherwise that'll happen. Then grab your chests and do the same, but placing them on top of the hoppers. Once you've got all of those in place, you can grab your hoppers once again, and you may as well do your rails at the same time. So hold sneak, and then place a hopper, and then a rail. Hopper, rail, all the way down. Next up, grab your minecart hoppers and place them on all of the rails. This probably won't be as easy for you as it is for me, as minecart hoppers don't stack in survival. Now you can place down your grass, so just make sure you're one block above all the hoppers, and then make a 3 wide thing going all the way across to the other end, just making one big platform for the sheep to stand on. We're now going to add in the very little amount of redstone needed for this farm, so grab your observers, building blocks, redstone dust and dispensers, and then for each section break this grass block here, observer, building block, redstone dust and dispenser facing inwards, and then do that for the other 15. Next up, it's time to place the glass in, but we're not going to put it all down just yet. We're only going to place certain ones. What we're going to do is leave a gap in front of the dispenser so that we can put our sheep in place when we eventually get them ready to go. So just do like I'm doing here, leaving that space in the front. Now it's time to move the sheep in. There are a number of ways to do this, but 2 things you will certainly need is some wheat so that they'll follow you, and some leads in case they need an extra helping hand. You can either drop them in from the top or push them in from any of the sides. They may need an extra nudge sometimes, which can be quite tricky, but don't worry, it will all be worth it once they're finally in place. And there we go, all of your sheep are now in place, looking very colourful if I do say so myself. So now what you've got to do is place another layer of glass on top, But just make sure if you want to do this, you put their corresponding color on the block directly above them. It just makes it a little easier, as I said earlier, to tell which one is which, as usually they won't have their wall like they do right now. You are now able to put some sort of covering on this so it all looks a little neater. I would recommend leaving a way to access the dispensers from the back, just in case you need to restock the shears. So there we go, that's all you need to do. The farm should give you just over a stack of wool each hour for each module, which may not seem like a lot, but I can assure you it adds up very quickly. And if you need one type of wool, simply make all the sheep the same colour. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful for you. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye for now.